Behind beautiful facades, smiles, and words of love hid fear, control, and disappearances. In this video, 6 cults you might not have even known existed. Real stories, real victims, real cults. Right now, I challenge you. You've got just 3 seconds to subscribe to the channel. Only 1% of viewers actually manage to do it in time. Are you one of them? 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Colonia Dignidad. Colonia Dignidad. Colonia Dignidad was a secluded colony founded in 1961 in Chile by Paul Schaefer, a former Nazi medic from Germany. Presented as a charitable German Christian community, the colony operated as a secretive and authoritarian cult for decades. Located in the Chilean countryside, the colony was surrounded by electrified fences and armed guards, making escape nearly impossible. Schaefer maintained strict control over members, separating families and prohibiting contact with the outside world. Children were abused, indoctrinated, and subjected to harsh discipline. Widespread sexual abuse, particularly against minors, was rampant. Schaefer personally molested dozens of boys and used psychological and physical torture to maintain obedience. During the Pinochet dictatorship, the colony collaborated with the Chilean secret police, DINA, offering its facilities for the torture, disappearance, and execution of political prisoners. Medical experiments were conducted on both members and detainees. Following investigations in the 1990s and early 2000s, Schaefer fled Chile, but was later arrested in Argentina in 2005 and sentenced to prison, where he died in 2010. Colonia Dignidad has since been partially dismantled, but its survivors still struggle with trauma, and many crimes remain unpunished. The site has been the subject of documentaries, books, and court proceedings due to its scale of abuse and political collusion. The 12 Tribes. The 12 Tribes. The 12 Tribes is a religious cult founded in the 1970s by Elbert Jean Spriggs in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It presents itself as a peaceful, communal Christian society, aiming to recreate the early church described in the Book of Acts. Members live together, share possessions, and run businesses such as cafes and farms to support their communities. However, multiple investigations have revealed systemic abuse, especially against children. The group practices corporal punishment, including beatings with rods, often for minor disobedience. Children are denied formal education and medical care, as the community believes the outside world is corrupt and dangerous. Former members have testified to psychological manipulation, forced labor, and isolation from family and friends. The 12 Tribes has expanded internationally, establishing communes in Canada, Germany, Australia, and other countries. Authorities in several countries have conducted raids on their properties. In Germany, a high-profile 2013 raid removed dozens of children after evidence of beatings was filmed undercover. In the United States, the group continues to operate largely under the radar. Despite claims of being nonviolent and spiritually focused, the 12 Tribes has been consistently criticized for its authoritarian leadership, child abuse, and cult-like control over its followers' lives. Freedomites. Freedomites. The Freedomites, also known as the Sons of Freedom, were a radical offshoot of the Doukhobor religious movement in Canada. Originally Russian spiritual Christians who fled persecution, the Doukhobors settled in British Columbia in the early 20th century. In the 1920s, a splinter group emerged that rejected materialism, government authority, and modern institutions. The Freedomites became known for extreme acts of protest, including public nudity, arson, and bombings. They believed that material possessions, formal education, and government influence corrupted the soul. To protest compulsory public schooling for their children, the Freedomites burned schools and homes and staged nude demonstrations to symbolize spiritual purity and rejection of worldly values. The Canadian government responded by forcibly removing hundreds of children from Freedomite families and placing them in residential institutions between the 1950s and 1970s. These actions left deep generational trauma. Many children later described the state-run facilities as sites of abuse and forced assimilation. The Freedomite movement declined significantly by the late 20th century, but its legacy remains controversial in Canada. While some view them as principled idealists, others see them as dangerous extremists. Their story highlights the tension between religious freedom and state authority in Canadian history. Grail Movement. Grail Movement. The Grail Movement is a spiritual group based on the writings of Oscar Ernst Bernhardt, who published under the pseudonym Abdru Shin. His core work, In the Light of Truth, the Grail Message, claims to offer a path to spiritual enlightenment through strict moral conduct and alignment with Grail laws. The movement gained a strong following in Central Europe, particularly in the Czech Republic and Germany. While not initially violent, the group has faced serious criticism for its cult-like structure, authoritarian leadership, and isolationist practices. In the 2000s, the Czech branch of the movement faced investigations after the deaths of children in member families. Parents, influenced by Grail teachings, refused medical treatment for ill children, relying instead on spiritual healing. These cases sparked national outrage. The group teaches followers to cut off non-believing family members, avoid modern healthcare, and reject mainstream society as spiritually corrupt. Though the movement presents itself as peaceful and philosophical, former members describe psychological manipulation, social isolation, and fear-based control. The Grail movement still operates internationally under various names and foundations, often recruiting through lectures, wellness retreats, and books. Critics warn that beneath its mystic veneer lies a rigid ideology that can endanger vulnerable followers. Angel's Landing. Angel's Landing. Angel's Landing was a small, secluded compound in Kansas, where cult leader Lou Castro manipulated and controlled a group of women and children for nearly a decade in the early 2000s. Castro presented himself as a supernatural being, an angel or immortal being with divine powers, and convinced his followers he could predict death and offer protection in exchange for loyalty and obedience. He surrounded himself with women, many of whom he sexually abused, and exploited them financially. Several mysterious deaths occurred within the group, often followed by life insurance payouts to surviving members, which Castro controlled. These deaths, initially ruled accidental, eventually raised suspicions among law enforcement. Investigations revealed that Castro used his fake identity and spiritual persona to isolate members from outsiders and manipulate them into surrendering property, finances, and control of their lives. In 2010, he was arrested under his real name, Daniel Perez. He was later convicted of multiple charges, including rape, child exploitation, and murder. He is currently serving a life sentence in prison. Angel's Landing was not a large-scale cult, but its secrecy, manipulation, and the shocking crimes committed within its walls make it one of the most disturbing modern cult cases in the United States. Universalisme. Universalisme. The Universalisme, Temple of Love and Truth, was a French cult led by Marie-Thérèse Castano, who claimed to be the incarnation of a cosmic mother or spiritual divinity. The group operated in France in the 1980s and 1990s under the guise of a spiritual movement offering enlightenment, purity, and preparation for a new cosmic era. Castano created a hierarchical system where she exerted absolute control over her followers, often instructing them to sever ties with outsiders, including family. The most disturbing aspect of the cult was its teachings regarding children. Castano claimed that childbirth disrupted spiritual energy and that children could prevent followers from achieving divine truth. Multiple women were allegedly persuaded to abandon or neglect their babies, resulting in deaths by malnutrition, dehydration, or exposure. In 1995, Castano was brought to trial in France. Though she denied ordering any harm, testimonies from survivors and reports from social services led to her conviction for abuse and manslaughter. The cult was subsequently dismantled. This case remains one of France's most horrifying cult stories, shocking the public with how New Age language and universal love were used to justify neglect, abuse, and death, all in the name of spiritual purity. See you in the next video.